Thank you very much, Madam Chair, to the ranking member. I appreciate it, and thank you very much for the panel being here today. I want to talk a little bit to our witnesses who are shedding light on this, I think, very important topic. People in my district, Iowa's 3rd, elected me to serve their best interests, not that of any political party or agenda or social agenda that's being set forward. To that end, I, along with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle today, support policies that prioritize protecting everyday families, farmers in my home district, small business owners, and Americans across the board. Their investment and their financial futures often depend on the decisions that are being made in this room. This follows up with yesterday's hearing on what we would like to drill down on for a term called robo-voting. This is an alarming and ramping process and that has come across the board. For those of you watching back in Iowa, robo-voting is the practice of automatically casting votes with proxy advisors' recommendations. Only 2 firms, including a member who is on this panel today, are part of a duopoly, if you will, who are casting 97% of the proxy advisor market. They've given unprecedented power and control over my constituents' 401ks and their future funding. Essentially, a corn grower who lives in my home state, their livelihood to both fuel and feed the world is being unknowingly funding to groups who are committed to demising their very line of existence. Their hard-earned 401k portfolio investment and advisors who are voting on their shares boast solely on the recommendations of these 2 firms that operate oftentimes in opposition to those very farmers, livestock producers, and biofuels that they have built their business upon. In fact, in some cases, they're openly hostile competitors and overseas companies where their retirement dollars are going. This can impede and even seek to end traditional farming in my state, and that's just one sector. In Iowa, growers, who also are investors, have little knowledge and only 2 respectable options to choose from in terms of proxy advisors. Not only are farmers losing funds to their competition, but they're losing market performance on those hard-earned retirement funds. According to Forbes, numerous studies demonstrate and correlate between an increase in activism in areas like environmental activism into public pension funds promoting social agendas and lower stock returns, resulting in a staggering 14% decrease in valuations for those affected companies. To that end, Madam Chair, I'm introducing a bill next week that requires the SEC to make a final rulemaking prohibiting the practice of robo-voting and prohibits institutional investors from outsourcing their voting decisions to a proxy advisor. It requires them to be based on investment merit returns versus activist desires. In my opinion, it is beyond time that this corrupt and largely lazy practice is brought into the light and ended. Our constituents are counting on us for this level of change. With that, Mr. Nearterm, can you go into detail and describe to us the process of robo-voting and how it impacts the decision-making process and the fiduciary responsibilities of asset managers?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question, Congressman. So robo-voting, as you so accurately described it, is the process by which proxy firms automatically cast votes on asset managers' behalf in line with those proxy firms' recommendations and without any review by the asset managers. So what you have is a system in which asset managers don't have the ability to make an informed decision on the votes that they're taking because the proxy firms are just automatically casting those votes. By definition, that means that those asset managers may or may not be acting in the Main Street investors' best interest.
Why do you think then that Chair Gensler of the SEC did away with former Chair Clayton's overhaul of proxy advisor firms in 2020? And I would offer, do you think that a robo-voting bill like the one I'm proposing this morning is a priority?
On the second question, absolutely. Thank you for leading on that legislation, Congressman. I think it's absolutely needed and a real priority for the industry. On the first question about Chairman Gensler's actions here, it's hard to know his mind, but it certainly does seem to be part and parcel of the SEC's overall effort to deregulate and empower proxy advisory firms. The net effect of this is that your constituents, Iowans, are left with conflicted, error-ridden advice that is being automatically voted on their behalf without them even knowing about it.
Thank you, Mr. Needham. With that, Madam Chair, I yield my time.